Well, good evening. Monday, much later start. And I do have to apologize to some of you because I'm starting to like these late starts on Monday because they feel like Tuesday. And that's all good for me. Very good for me. Mm. Hello, always. Thank you for coming here and modding. And a big shout out to Always Createful. I got to tell you, researcher beyond compare. And she's building a team. And I'm very grateful. It's crazy. I'm sure quite a few of you may already know, but there are quite a few trials going off at the same time right now. Unfortunately, I'm only one bear with one head and two hands. And as much as I like to go into great detail on these stuff, it's impossible for one person. So I am eternally grateful for Always Grateful and several others in the background who take the time to drop a DM, drop a video, drop a article, wherever they can. If you're in the Discord and you're there helping me to contribute, I am very grateful, especially today because trials always start on Mondays. Like, what's that? Don't they know? Don't they know? Hey, you know? To those of you who have come to hear the live, thank you. Rocket Couch, Tony, very nice to see you. Jin, always nice to see you. Big Grope your way. Book Lover 92, a new friend. Thank you very much for being here. April, Trent, nice to see you again. And Janae, hey, thank you. So, I think you saw from the thumbnail, you know what we're going to be talking about, huh? We're going to be talking about, well, I'll be honest, trigger warning, because I don't normally do trigger warnings, but when I'm listening to opening statements and I have to grab a box of tissues and I have to be thankful that I'm not live while I'm listening to it, I'm going to tell you we're going to have trigger warnings here. So if you feel uncomfortable, I will not be offended. Y'all can step out, whatever you need to do. Letecia Stauch, this trial is horrible. It's about a young boy, 13 years old, her stepson. She did him wrong. She's accused of doing him wrong, I should say. But they talk very graphically here. And surprisingly enough, it wasn't actually the prosecution that was as graphic, it was the defense. And I believe that's because the defense is going to say that she was out of her mind when she did it. And she'd have to be out of her mind to do what was done. But it was pretty graphic. Let me just let me get my big old head off of here and start. Just get started because it's a lot. Hello, Michelle. Nice to see you too. So, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make you blush that hard. Always grateful, but I'm gonna keep doing it. Sorry. I'm gonna start putting thank yous in the videos too. Sorry. And Jin, I know it's your job, so I won't say it out loud anymore on stream. Just make sure you take care of that in the chat for me. Okay. It, yes, Rocket Couch. Most bears just have paws. I know. At least this bear can type. Yep. At least this bear can type. Well, let's get back to Letecia. Now, the Letecia in this picture here would be the one with the dark hair and the gloomy ghost look on her face. This is how she looked. Now, she was not wearing bright green like this in the videos. I will tell you, I do have the opening statements. I will be putting out a short video on both the defense and the prosecution, just like we did with Murdaugh. Only this one's not as pretty. There's no really up close camera. It is one camera and it shows the whole room, and everybody's like little itty bitty people. You can barely see Letecia stuffed in the corner behind this podium thing. It's not like the Murdaugh trial. Okay, but you will get the audio of everything that was said. I think when I do the video, I will give you pictures of what the people look like, the blown up on the side. That's why it's going to be either late tonight or tomorrow morning when those go out for you. But I'm basically going to tell you what they said today anyway, and we're just going to document those opening statements for the record. both the prosecution and the defense. Just to get you familiar with the players, the judge in this case is Gregory Warner, and he's been there all along. Here's Letecia. We'll just put a different one up of her. Letecia has had Gregory Warner. She was the first judge she wrote to. They've had a pen pal relationship all along. Not to make light of it, but Letecia's been all that. She's been keeping us all busy with shenanigans. She started writing to the judge right away. This is the case to where she was going to defend herself. And she was saying that no one could defend her the way she could defend her because no one knew the particulars of the case as well as she did. She wasn't happy with her defense. Blah, 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 blah. She wrote to the judge, and he's entering everything into evidence. It's all part of the court case. Ridiculousness. She's also the one that has the really long Google history and kind of can, when you talk about alleged crimes, and this is murder, improper disposal of a body. Many in Colorado, they get to put extra charges on you for violence on a child under the age of 12 when it happened. Oh, that's right. Gannon was 11, not 13. I misspoke. Gannon was 11. So there's additional charges for every type of weapon used. And here's where it starts to get to me. 18 stab wounds, 3 gunshots, several blunt trauma to the head. That's definitely a bit much. There are additional charges for every weapon for criminal violence against a child under the age of 12 in Colorado, plus the standard charges. There are sub-chapters to each of the charges in there for all of those. There's also the mishandling of the body. The body is claimed by the prosecution to be moved from the home where the alleged murder has happened. They believe Letecia did all of the worst at the home on January 27th when Gannon stayed home from school for a stomachache. Her Google searches were horrendous. Things like what to do when my husband's not paying attention to me. He pays more attention to the children. How to do this, how to do that. How do I get attention? All her. All weird things. And we'll bring that up later. I did release earlier in one of my other Stauch videos the actual affidavit that has the evidence in it. You will see the pictures that they showed. The prosecution showed pictures today of Gannon laying in his bed with 2 particular blankets and a pillow that were discovered, per prosecution in their opening statement, in the suitcase with the body, how Letecia disposed of the body. But anyway, they are saying that she committed the crime in her home, in the home that she shared with the stepchildren and her husband, Al Stauch, and that she then disposed of that body. Now, they're saying that she rented a van and moved the body out. They're saying that she went into a storage unit and got the suitcase and put the body in there. They also made a lot of statements about evidence that we're going to hear, about scrub brushes in the sink with DNA and blood, about a lot of blood being found on the scene, about a lot of evidence still left and accumulated from the crime scene. Okay. They have a very solid picture of it. They say that there's GPS tracking of where she went in all the vehicles. There's phone documentation, just like other cases. Everything that they're saying pretty much is nailing her. And they made a big point of also saying that when she reported Gannon missing, and they said, well, who was the last one to see Gannon? And she said, well, I guess that was me, which kind of struck me, not unusual to be the last person to see someone, but it was like kind of how she said it. but I could be a little biased because this one bothers me a lot. I'll be honest. It's really really kind of overkill what happened to that child. And also the amount of stories that she told afterwards. If you remember from prior articles report and even my reporting on my channel, she changed her stories from this man Eduardo who attacked her to some other man named Smith who attacked her to then they kidnapped Gannon because he made me a witness. And yet she never reported any violence against her by anyone. No incidents ever. She wouldn't submit for any testing or any help in regards to any of these statements. She changed everything. But what they did say is when they came to the house for her to report missing, she was very clean. Okay, she was very blasé, and they said that the clothes that she was wearing on the day of the murder are missing, except for these sneakers that were found on the washer that she tried to clean, but were full of blood and DNA. And it wasn't her blood, and it wasn't her DNA. During the prosecution's opening statement, they say it was Gannon's. Okay. The prosecution was given an hour and they didn't use it. They very succinctly, and by the way, the prosecutor in this case from Colorado's 4th District is DA Michael Allen, young, kind of just straightforward. I kind of liked his style. He just basically laid it out. She left a lot of evidence behind. She spent a lot of time trying to cover up. She did herself in with all her misstatements. He just laid it all out. He just laid it all out simply, and he didn't even take his whole hour. Okay. The prosecution was clear, okay, very clear that they feel that she was of sound mind because she could not have cleaned all of this up. She could not have moved the body twice, okay, because not only did she remove it from the home, take it in a vehicle to the airport where she went somewhere else and then transported it when she drove on another vacation and left it under a bridge, and it was found by a bridge employee, a bridge worker employee. I kind of really feel for him because it was 48 days after he was missing on January 27th. So you can imagine what that gentleman found. What the prosecution is saying was in that suitcase was Gannon's body with evidence of all of the traumatic injury that was done to him with the intent to end his life, plus the 2 blankets from his bed in his pillow. Clearly identifying who he was. There was plenty there. Suitcase came right from the house. It's quite evidence that somebody in the house is the one who disposed of the body. And her being the only caretaker home and available for the day, I don't know why she intends for us to believe it could have been anybody else when there's really been nobody else to look at. Husband was not there. She has a daughter, Haley, that she tries to get to stick up for her on certain things, like when she saw Gannon last and things like that. There was also filings in the court case. You'll remember that we spoke on this prior. Probably, if not, you can go back into the listings. If you search the name Stauch, they'll all come up. And she clearly tried to keep her cell phones out of evidence because of her conversations back and forth with her daughter and several other people, where she changed her story several times, or they said certain things that she just didn't think went in her favor. She obviously, in her actions, at least to me, seemed pretty sound. I did think it was a little nuts. She wanted to defend herself, and she did also try to escape from prison twice. During her initial transfer, she got out of her handcuffs. In not only did she try to escape, she assaulted an officer. So she still has other charges pending on that. And then while she was in prison, another prisoner came forward and talked about Letecia, talking about plans and things and money and stuff on how to get out of prison. She had a whole thing going. She had an escape plan. And they're looking into that one too. During this time, she continued to write to the judge about her defense and this and that. She did go through a competency hearing that was ordered by Gregory Warner early on, based on the letters and the trying to escape and the way she was conducting herself, which she passed. Okay. There will be evidence from the prosecutor. There will be people coming forward from Pueblo Mental Hospital where the evaluation was done, and they'll be giving testimony based on her status at that time. However, since then, the defense attorneys, which by the way is Joseph Tallini and his assistant Will Cook. Will Cook actually took the lead and did the actual opening statement for the defense. Okay. DA Michael Allen actually did the opening statement for the prosecution. Okay. But she's had the same defense attorneys for over a year or so now. And Josh Tolini had petitioned the court for a new mental evaluation that they would pay for themselves. They wanted to bring their own expert witness. They weren't satisfied. They didn't feel that her actions were okay. That the judge said, well, she's going to now plead differently. She's going to plead. She's changing her plea and trying to say she was mentally incompetent at the time of the incident. The judge accepted the plea. They're going to go forward with that defense. It's going to be a matter of how she gets charged or where she spends her prison sentence. The amount of evidence and everything that they have here, they're going to attempt to show competency in the way that she conducted herself at the time of the murder and afterwards. They're going to show her, per the prosecution's statements, their intention is to show her actually trying to manipulate people, being coercive, obstructing justice everywhere she got, trying to cover up everything, and that she had to be in her full faculties to do that. Now, the prosecution will tell you another story. And the prosecution's story is graphic. Not the prosecution, but the defense, rather. The defense actually came forward with all of the details of the crime, not the prosecution. The prosecution laid out the evidence they had. They talked of scrub brushes, DNA, blood, GPS, the cell phones, the blankets, where the body was found. They laid out how they felt the crime was done. Okay. But they didn't go into graphic detail. The defense, when they came up, they took their complete time and they graphically talked about the injuries to Gannon and how he died. And they did that in trying to persuade the jury that she just was not in her right mind. They actually said no one in their right mind could do that. They said it. He said it, those words, to the jury. No one in their right mind could have done this to Gannon. Letecia was a loving stepmother. That's been contested. Well, these are the statements. They went into great detail about the wounds and how the wounds were incurred. They talked about the gunshots. They talked about 18 stab wounds. And they talked about the blunt trauma to the head. They talked about it all. That was the defense. That startled me a little bit. Did anyone else listen to the webinar today besides myself? And I'm pretty sure Always had her. That she was definitely listening to it this afternoon based on our conversations. Well, yep. Okay. Hey, Crazy Cat. Hey, Mark. N.A. Christola. Nice to see you. I'm trying to follow the conversations you guys are here. Okay, guys, Always right. Gannon's favorite color was blue. Someone mentioned that on a podcast earlier today. There was someone actually in the courtroom that I want to give you their name, because if you're a Twitter follower and you like to get like the blow by blow as it's happening, Nicole Fierro, and I'm just going to drop her Twitter for you. She's a reporter. She's an anchor reporter for KDVR. Okay. And she's on Twitter and she's doing blow by blows as it goes on. Okay. She's a journalist. And I enjoyed her blow by blow today. I may change who we follow on it, but for now, if you do like that, please give her a follow over there on Twitter. And as everything's going on, it'll be. This is not one I'm doing live. Mm-mm. We are not going to sit here and listen to this with that terrible feed. And the way the defense is going to be going for it, there's no way. There's just no way. I am going to put up a poll on the community tab and ask you all how often you would like the summaries. I'm thinking twice a week, for a little bit longer. But if you want a 30-minute one every day, you could twist my arm. I would do it just to tell you what happened of the day. But we're also going to have Lori Vallow, along with Letecia Stauch. Lori Vallow started today. Mm. Is she always? That's very interesting. She says that Nicole is actually replacing someone who was subpoenaed as a witness. That's kind of interesting. But those blue hearts for Gannon whenever you can. And I have Gannon's picture up because I would much rather look at him. I would much rather look at him than Letecia these days. I have some other things to show you on Letecia, but I did link her original affidavit for indictment in the description because those 32 pages have the evidence that your prosecution is going to be talking about. The photos, they talk about the GPS, they talk about the cell phone data, they talk about the scrub brushes and the cleaning up, the sneakers, lots, all of it. Okay. So you can get an idea because what we're not going to get a lot of because there's only one feed into the courtroom. And I'm telling you, it's not a good one. If you were watching Law and Crime or any of the other smaller channels, or I think the Glarer, actually, who is a true crime channel, he was also putting it up today, a smaller channel. But the feed is just so bad. So you have to actually really want to spend time with the person there. The audio is not so great. I'm going to try to clean it up. I will get you clips. But I don't think it's an 8 hours that would be actually torture for everybody. I give great credit for those of you that are actually doing it, but I can't. Just not going to do it. Just not for her, not for Letecia Stauch. No. Well, let's see. I know, Christola, the defense, it was really hard to follow him, but he's very graphic. I'm going to try to clean up the audio and I'll tag you when I get it cleaned up. But I agree. It was very, very, very hard to follow. And I also agree with this one. Hopefully, Haley will tell the truth on the stand. I'm hoping so because she's going back and forth with her statements too. And it's been, hey, Mippet, nice to see you. Hi, Verillion. Verillion says, in his opinion, murderers aren't in a right mindset anyway. I don't see that as a good defense. I don't either because of all especially with everything she had to do afterwards to cover up, and she went a long time. She fought tooth and nail. She only recently switched to okay, I was out of my mind and I'm guilty. She just recently switched. Mhm. Yep. Mm. Oh, hey, thanks for this sustenance you got going on in the chat there, Jin. Throw me a couple of shots, please. Okay, so there's Nicole. Now, when it comes, yeah, Aaron. Hi, Aaron. Yes, blow by blow. And it wasn't the prosecution. You would think, Aaron, you would think it would be the prosecution, right? I mean, where the audio at? For me, or you mean for the webinar? I can send you a link for that if you want to listen to it during the day. I can send you a link how to get in there. But I do have the audio of it. But yeah, it was blow by blow, and I am making the video of it later on tonight, Aaron, to clean it up. But if you're actually asking for the audio link, I can get you that. I can. Okay. Oh, hey Charlie, nice to see you. Justice for Gannon is a great. I love this hashtag, everyone. Like that is actually. Hmm. What, Charlie? I just said hi. Don't leave, boo. Don't leave me, boo. Please don't go. I just saw your name. I'm behind in the chat. I am. Everybody, tell Charlie not to go. You know what, Mippy? I understand that. Been lurking, but when children are involved, I just get broken. You know, that's why I'm not doing the live trial. I'm telling you. You know, I'm telling you. Hey, Sean, thank you for coming in and telling him to stay. Thank you very much. Okay. Hey, Fish Nerd. Fish Nerd's locking the door. You got to stay. You what do you mean? Charlie, you got to stay with us, dude. No, thank you, Fish Nerd. Thank you, Sean, for trying to help me. But you know, Charlie, he's a man of his own mind. He's gonna do what he's gonna do. But you know, sometimes it's just not enough to want him here. Oh, Mark Caesar's commanding you. Okay, all right. I'm gonna leave you be then. Okay. See, you're loved, Charlie. You're well loved. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Aaron, this trial is going to be really, really rough. Really rough. And I don't blame anyone for not wanting to follow it in detail. I'm thinking of just doing it twice a week, but it's up to you guys. You know, I'll put the poll up, and if we do 30 minutes every day, that's fine too. I am gonna be listening to the webinar and recording it just for my own personal use to take notes, and we'll go from there. But like I said, the visuals are really not good. They're gonna be messed up with. Oh, Aaron. Oh, jeez, Aaron. Don't make me delete your comment. Jeez, don't pick on. All right, Aaron. Aaron, here it is. I like you, dude. You're one of my favorite people, but don't mess with Charlie, man. This is one instance where Charlie's got a little more clout than you do. Like over here. Don't mess with my Charlie. Well, he's not mine, but you know what I mean. Anyway, a nice summary, right, Cristola? I'm thinking, you know, maybe you wanted 30 minutes a day, and also that would be fun. I mean, not fun, but actually easier. Mm-hmm. Mm. Okay, now, I appreciate y'all trying to make me laugh, but I gotta be serious here. I do. All right. I've got the video for you.
Letecia Stauch, which again and step.
It
Uh,
will annoy you.
you've
Sorry,
been
Mm,
it annoyed
a
me.
part of the investigation since the very first time. You were the last person to see him. Is that right?
correct.
Uh, what What did you see when you last saw him?
Well, I'm not allowed to talk about anything with the case. I would more so be willing to talk about how the community needs to have faith and continue to work together and not make these false accusations like the things that have been said that I've disappeared from the community. I haven't been there to help, but there's lots of reasons behind that.
Reasons like death threats, right?
Right. Death threats are one of them. My family's getting lots of death threats. We counted over 20 some death threats already. Two, my wife is living in our home. And of course, I'm not coming home to do these things and to help with the family when I was kind of like told I couldn't. And then many other things that happened with the El Paso Police Department, you know, and then doing the investigation, I was told I wasn't complying. And can I elaborate on that?
Please do.
Yes. So I asked for an attorney during the interview, and I was denied that by them. I was held because they were blocking the door, and I was told I couldn't leave, and that if I would have touched them, they would have probably, you know, said I still wasn't complying or said I was, you know, trying to run away or something. But during the interview, I asked several times, could I stop the interview? Could I get an attorney? Could I stop the interview? Could I get an attorney? I was denied. I was told I couldn't get nothing to drink. I couldn't go to the bathroom. I mean, it was continuously that my constitutional rights were violated.
And that's why you say that they said then you weren't cooperating with the investigation.
That's why they said I wasn't cooperating at that time. Correct.
And why did you ask for an attorney at the time?
Well, I asked for attorney at the time because there was one individual, there was two really good detectives, and so I'm not, you know, going to talk bad about detectives, but the tactics they started to get when I would answer questions, they try to they're detectives. They're supposed to twist. The one main goal is to find Gannon. But during that time, some of those things made me feel uncomfortable the way they were saying. So I immediately stopped and felt like an attorney to help me with some of the vocabulary and things like that I needed help with and understanding some of the things that they were asking.
I'm going to shift gears to what has become a huge online presence of
Right.
people obviously trying to do the right thing,
Hmm.
help find Gannon. But at the same time, sometimes it just feels like rumor mongering. Have you seen any of those comments yourself?
We have. And see, that's one of the main things we haven't been around in the public eye because I don't want to expose myself to these things were going on off the years in our home because his mother didn't want to do it. And I would ever hurt this child. And I know there's some questions out there about that's up to the investigations when they end up letting you guys know, cooperated with them, even to the point that we were held with a gun. And my daughter, a 17-year-old who served our country in the United States Air Force, who has never committed a crime or done anything wrong in her life, was put in handcuffs over the keys that was in her purse so they could take her car.
And they weren't in there.
They weren't even in her car. I mean, in her purse.
And
They were in my pocket.
You originally didn't even know it was the law enforcement officers?
I didn't know it was a law enforcement officer because when he came out, I guess he was putting in his jacket. It wasn't necessarily his fault. He was adjusting and happened to catch me. But I saw the gun and I panicked originally and kind of thought, oh gosh, I got the, like, who's this guy? And then once I realized it was the sheriff's office, I was totally okay. But they still had a gun and told me they were going to shoot me. But I was really concerned about my daughter asking why she was being detained in handcuffs and things like that when that shouldn't even happen for a child. That shouldn't happen for someone who was standing inside of a store shopping because she didn't have any clothes because all of our clothes were here. If we came here and got clothes, we would be harassed. So she went to purchase some underwear and things like that and was put in the handcuffs in the store, and then brought out with men with guns. And that's just not okay. They could have approached me and said, hi, I'm with El Paso County. Can I please get this? Instead of the way that it happened.
I'm just going to check your chat. Doing great. Want to make sure that we're still good on the recording, still can hear you okay. Okay, yeah, sounds like we're good. Every once in a while, my mic will fade out, and I want to make sure that's not going to happen here. Okay.
This part is a little weird because he has to fix something. I actually think he was nervous. But she was acting so bizarre.
It almost feels like, to me, like kind of a pitchfork mentality with people. It almost, do you feel safe in Southern Colorado?
Yes, this is a wonderful neighborhood. We picked this neighborhood because it felt like such a great community and the school district's great. And so I really feel safe in Colorado Springs.
But then the community seems to have turned. Is that true?
There's a lot of times that, on the Ring Gap and things like that, we hear of like a burglary every day. And, some of those things you can't always look into and think that it actually happened. You have to kind of like wheedle it out. But overall, the community is really good at looking out for each other and coming together in times of need.
I should try and clarify here. Not necessarily crime rates, but the way that people are reacting online to rumors about you with the story.
Oh yes. Wow. The rumors have gotten so bad. I pretty much have been told at least 10 different ways that these people have these conspiracy theories. I guess they watch a lot of law shows and maybe they have all these theories on how Gannon is dead. And that's what they're saying. So I'm like, why are you saying Gannon is dead? He is not dead. We are going to find Gannon. And that's the main goal that we all have. My family has. Just because you haven't seen us, we have that same goal. And we've been out searching. My aunt has been out searching. My family has been out searching. We all have been doing that together so that we could protect each other.
How does it feel when not only you have a lost child who you are in care of, but then people blaming you for that child not being there?
You know, I I'm just ready for Gannon to come home. Most importantly, for him to see his family. But second, I am going to be so ecstatic when I'm able to say to people that I hope they have a really sincere apology for all these theories that have came out online, for all the things they said that I have done or people have done. I just want everyone to know that we're going to find Gannon. And I love him so much. I've helped taking care of him for so long.
Can you talk to me a little bit about him? I don't know him.
Gannon is so kind and he loves to play video games. That's one of his favorite things. He loves Sonic and Mario. And, he's always helpful. And he was always so helpful with the dogs around the house. And we have two little cute dogs. And he was always like a person I could say, Gannon, can you go do this? And he would do it right away. Sometimes with kids, we have to remind them and things like that. And that's okay. But he was so sweet and able to help anyone. He could notice when you're sick and say, are you okay? And such a kind heart.
Um, I know you just said that you can't say anything about the investigation, so you can just say so if you can't answer this. But is there anything we can hear about the hike? Was there a hike? You don't. That just seems like rumors right now.
You know what? Could we bring my daughter up here because she can go and say that she came home from work after the hike and she can verify that Gannon was at our home.
Okay, yeah, that's fine with me. If she doesn't want to, that's okay. But you're allowed.
That's fine.
Okay, so we're gonna get to see
Yes,
Harley
I need Harley.
also. Okay.
I need Harley
Mhm.
because they want you to verify was Gannon at home after the hike. Because you didn't go to the hike, but you came home from work. Oh, just you came home from work and you can verify Gannon was at home. Yeah. I told her she didn't have to be too in depth because she is still, a child. But I want to make sure that someone knows that there's another person to verify that Gannon.
Sure.
Does she need to hold this?
No, that's as long as she's close.
Close.
So just stay close, and yeah, actually shift a tiny bit that way, just half inch that.
Okay.
Perfect. Okay. And then, can you say and spell your name for me real fast?
Harley Hunt, Harley Hunt, Hunt.
Perfect. And so just don't look away from her because it might sound that way. So you don't have to like face down into it. But
Okay.
I was just asking about the hike.
Yes, so I came home later that evening. I was at work, and I can verify that he was there that night.
So there was a hike that you guys went on, but then you guys came home.
Yes.
Where'd you guys go hiking?
Garden of the Gods.
I guess.
And then we ate Burger King afterwards. So,
There you go.
Yeah.
And then it just was, I'm gonna go to play at a friend's house.
Can we step off right here? I don't her on.
No.
Okay.
I'm good.
Yeah.
Really quick. Thank you.
Okay. Great. Okay, do it again.
And then it was just, I'm off to go to at a friend's house.
Unfortunately, I'm not able to comment on that anymore, and for that reason is because some things have been turned and twisted, and that was one of those stories you were talking about where people say things. We had to hear things like who would let their child go out at dark and things like that, and that's just why I don't want to answer that. If I had to give, I'm not gonna say that part.
That's okay.
Never mind.
Right.
We could take that out.
I understand that it gets tricky with
Yeah.
legal stuff. Do you feel like I asked you what I need to? Do you feel like this is going to help kind of turn the tide of what feels like a witch hunt, in my opinion?
I hope am I on camera now?
You are
okay.
still.
Okay. I think that a lot of people can see that I'm not missing and see that I am being cooperative, but to me, it's okay that they think those things because the way someone thinks about me, I don't have a problem with that. My main thing is I would never want someone to think that I was Gannon or any of the children in our home because that's just not the case. I've spent my whole entire life working so hard in education. There was even things online that was talking about my education license and I shouldn't even be a teacher. And they just didn't know that. Like we moved on a military move and I didn't finish out my contract. So I gave up my license in that state. It had nothing to do with any criminal activity, or any of those things. And it just got blown out of proportion on my professional status,
Do you feel like these are just internet detectives who think they know what they're doing?
It definitely is. And here's the thing that kind of saddens me. It's like if you're going to talk about someone like that and have a witch hunt out for them, why would you even care about doing those things? Because this is a child. You're telling me that you're just as mean, you're just as hateful to talk about someone else like that. That's how I feel. Like we just should not. We should all come together and wait until the end and see what happens because Gannon's going to come home.
Any message for Gannon?
The message for Gannon I have is, Gannon, when you get here, you'll be able to truly tell what happened. And then I really hope I get a sincere apology from everyone who has made all those things, especially from my husband. We just wanted to ask Gannon for my family is that we love you and miss you. And we hope that you come home soon. And Gannon, I can't wait till you can come home and let everyone know that you're okay. We love you.
Oh, so Hmm. So the reason I wanted to show that interview, it is from a while ago, but it also shows someone, in my opinion, trying to control the narrative. She was very, and understandably so, if they're all thinking you did something, trying to manipulate the situation to be her story out there, even though she was told not to talk. It was quite clever. I saw quite a bit of manipulation. Um, I don't know about you guys, but that didn't look like somebody coming out of the throes of a mentally incompetent state. So if she does go for this, insanity, it would just be what? Periodic? And here's the thing, all through the defense statements today, they're bringing up why they feel like this insanity thing happened. And apparently, it's from mental, physical, and sexual abuse from the time she was 4 years old. As she got older, her mother's boyfriends attacked her. She lived in a car. Very graphic stories. Okay. And that's why she had this episode to where something may have happened again, and she shouldn't be held accountable for it. Now, I think that's all horrible if that happened to her. I do. And it shouldn't have. It shouldn't happen to anybody. But no, what happened to Gannon shouldn't have happened either. And I think as a full grown woman, married now, children of her own, been living her life on her own, away from her mother, away from everything, she should have been getting the help that she needed. And I think she's still accountable, even if she did have all that happen to her and it affected her in some way. Affect you to the way that you would commit murder on a child? Mm-mm. I'm not buying it. And I don't see 12 jurors buying it either. But then again, we haven't even seen a stitch of evidence yet. So this is one of those kind of cases where everybody is going to have really strong opinions. And I want you all to be able to say it and talk about it. I do want you to keep an open mind and listen to both the prosecution and the defense, um, the best that you can, when it all comes out as they do the evidence. But I also want you to be able to get it off your chest too, because if you're feeling any way like I am, you're going to need to be able to talk about it. That's the kind of person I am. I can't just keep all this with me. Mm-mm. Yeah, I know. That's it. They wrapped up the interview. The interview's dead. That was it. It just ended just like that, Aaron. Just like that. It was done. Um, but still, I just wanted to show how clear she was thinking. That wasn't that long after. They were just like, oh yeah, Gannon's gonna come home and he's gonna tell everybody everything's fine. And she did make Christola the amount that the defense, what really struck me, Christola, today was the defense actually bringing all of that up, and how much. And she went way overboard, making sure he was gone. Exactly. We've got 18 stab wounds, 3 gunshots, and several blunt trauma to the head. Okay. Yeah, that's what they were saying today. Hmm. Crazy Cat says, I think the prosecutor is letting her play it out, then smack her with the evidence and show her how far she's prepared to go hide what she did. Exactly. There was a lot of that. He was saying how much he spent a lot of time on how she cleaned up and all of the steps that she took to do what she did. It was very carefully laid out. And I thought it was quite clever. It was quite clever because they didn't concentrate on what was done to the body, just what her actions on what she did afterwards. And that's because of how she's pleading. She's pleading insanity. And his job is to show no, you need to punish her as a sane person. Because here it is. And they both made the point. It's not a matter of whether she's going to be punished for what she did. It's where she serves that punishment and how long and what it's going to entail. Okay, because they're saying it happened. I was involved. I did. I did what I did. Okay. But why? It's going to be in a sane asylum or it's going to be or it's going to be prison. Okay. And then it depends on the laws of the state, which I'm still in the process of researching for Colorado, whether or not once she's found competent after all of this, if she serves her time, if she's just let free, or if it's going to be more a life thing, if you can do life for mental insanity like you can for the death of a child. Okay. They only dismissed one of the charges today. There was some confusion in the charge affidavit that was showing. One of the charges for about the child, about abuse on a child of that age, was dropped because they also have the murder of the child of the abuse of that age, and they also have all of the incidences of the damage that she did to the child under the age of 12. Okay, so they did drop one of the charges, and they were talking about that. It count 3, yes, and it's kind of confusing because actually on the charge affidavit, count 3 is pretty confusing, because they're listed kind of one right after the other, and because it was Colorado, these aren't available on the web like instantly, like Idaho. Like I can just get it. So there's like so many different documents. You have to. They don't even keep it there. They have 3 pay for units. You have to go and you pay for the whole case file, and they'll give it to you. And it's run through 3 different companies. Okay, so it's only the news media and those that are actually sharing them, that they're out there. Okay, because they're pretty well locked up. Okay. Hello, Ancher. Thank you for joining us. There's 2 conditions for legal insanity plea that I know of. You aren't able to know right from wrong, and I forget what the second one is, but the point is that having a mental illness does not, I'm sure that says, does not make you legally insane. Exactly. Not having a mental illness does. And also what they're trying to say is like episodic, because obviously she was okay afterwards. So it would have only have been just at this point. But he's trying to say that she's preconditioned for it based on all that happened to her in her life. And there's going to be witness testimony. He's talking about psychiatrists and therapists that are coming forward to give actual testimony onto how that's possible. But the prosecution is also going to bring the people from the Pueblo Mental Health Center that did her evaluation when she wanted to defend herself. And they declared her competent enough to defend herself. So it's like a catch-22 here. There's going to be 2 sides telling 2 different stories. As usual, prosecutor and defense. So it's going to be a battle of the experts, and whether the jury takes it into consideration. Okay. Now, one thing that I really did like about the Judge Gregory Warner is when he talked to the jury and he gave jury instruction on how to look at the evidence in this case. Again, they were reminded that circumstantial and at pat evidence are the same legally, and that also it's up to them how they look at witness testimony, and they can believe part of it, none of it, or all of it. They can actually judge a witness on their credibility. They can judge the witness based on how the witness fits into the scenario. Why are they talking to us? Why are they being presented? Who do they know? And how does the outcome of this was what got me, and how does the outcome of this case affect them? I thought that was brilliant judicial statements going out. I really enjoyed hearing that. I don't hear it a lot. You do hear it in like mini parts, but not as clear and succinct in like straight English like that right to them, you know. Oh, yes. Yes, always. I was you know what? I was wondering whether to bring that up or not. To prove that, well, listen, Letecia did a good thing by deciding not to defend herself. I don't know who came up with these, whether it was her or her defense team, but they already picked a jury. They sat the jury. When they go on break before lunch, the defense brings forth a motion to Judge Warner to say we would rather not have a jury trial. We would like a bench trial. We would like you to just decide what's going to happen here and let's be done. After 2 weeks. Do you know how long it took? 2 weeks to sit this jury. Yes. Insane, right? Always like, if I didn't hear it myself, I'm glad you're like concurring. I have big notes on it, and I'm like, I can't believe like this actually happened. I cannot believe that actually. I After all that time, okay, they went to voir dire. They go through every single juror. They got 6 alternates. Everybody said they wait till they all agree that that's going to be the jury. They dismiss the jury for a break, and the motion comes forward. And for the first time that I've ever heard it, and I saw several people that do a lot of legal reporting say they've only heard of this happening twice. The jurors in this case can ask questions. Judge Werner advised the jury that there was a manner in which they could ask the witnesses in the case questions. That after the witness is presented and then the other side has their turn and then there's redirect, that they can write a note, they have to write it down, let the judge know. He reads the question to himself, and if it passes legal muster with no problem, he will ask the witness the question for them. I think that's fantastic. I've never heard of it. I want to see how it plays out with this jury. Oh, by the way, obviously, since we had opening statements, Judge Werner kind of poo-pooed the motion from the defense and went, no, I don't think so. I think we have 12 jurors here that can definitely go forward with this. They passed all your questions as far as what they knew. They're not going to be that prejudicial. It was a matter of being overly prejudiced, social media and all of that, and everything that's happened to Letecia. It's such a big case. It was like a last ditch effort, but Judge Warner stuck to his guns and said, no, we've got 12 jurors here, 6 alternates. It's going to be fine. They seem of clear mind. They can ask questions. They also are allowed to take notes. I know some of you want to know if they can take notes or not. He made it very clear that they had pads and they can take notes and all. He was very clear about what evidence, okay, that opening statements and closings are not evidence. They're just where to look, all the basics, but then all those little caveats too about whether they believe witnesses' credibility. It's up to them to decide the credibility of a witness and how much of their testimony to take into consideration. Um, which gave them a lot. He said this case will be decided by you. Both the prosecution said that and the defense. They said it's in your hands what happens to Letecia Stauch. It's up to you, as it should. Liz, it's terrible to think that, but I mean, so many people think that. Liz says she feels like Letecia may have killed Gannon out of revenge since she believed her husband was once again cheating and she knew it. At least that is what I think so far. She did make quite a few comments about the husband not paying enough attention to her, the children taking up all his time. There may have been some jealousy there. She was quite annoyed he stayed home that day for an upset stomach. And it's just tragic. This is a horrible, horrible case all the way around. I look forward to giving you the opening statements. We'll get those together so you can hear. I want to introduce you to the team, and then, if with your permission, I'm going to go on to Lori Vallow just briefly. Okay. This is the prosecution team. Okay, this is actually the young one here in the middle. That's DA Michael Allen. Okay, and this is the rest of his team. I need to acquire all their names to hopefully be able to report accurately who's doing what, as far as questioning and all. They usually announce themselves so we can keep track. Well, that is DA Allen from Colorado, 4th District. This is the prosecution team. On with the red tie here, this is Joshua Tolini. Okay. And this here is this is Will Cook, who did the defense's opening statement today. Okay. And I think I had one more. And this is Miss Sad Sack. This is how I want to keep picturing her. Not pleased to be where she is, because she shouldn't be, and distressed. But yeah. Yeah, is he older than he looks? Because he just he looks, and he's very energetic always. Not only does he look young, he's energetically young, but he was very, very precise. He was very precise in his opening statements today. At least I found him be. I love to follow opening statements just for that. And thank you for the Justice for Gannon Blue Hearts. Hello, Ox. It's nice to see you. Hey, Wrecker. Thanks for the ottering and for feeding them so they don't run amok in the chat. Let me just take a couple more of these comments, and then we're going to move on to Lori Vallow before we close up. There's just a little bit on her. I always have to laugh when I see Find a Flat Earth Convention in my chat. Like, I don't know what that was about, but you're making me giggle. And I really shouldn't be giggling about this. But anyway, brilliant. I think asking questions during the trial helps in deliberation where the questions could be answered prior. Exactly. It's going to help them direct, and because then they don't have to go back and then rethink about all the evidence. While the evidence is occurring, questions that come up can be answered. It's going to be a lot smoother. People will be sure about what they're thinking and feeling. I think you're spot on with that. I actually do. Mm. Mm. He has two grown sons. I believe one is a teacher. Are you talking about D.A. Allen, or are you talking about Al Stauch? I think you're talking about D.A. Allen. Thank you. And thank you, Ox, for reminding everybody, do the YouTubey things. But no, I'm not going to send fleas after you. But please do the YouTubey things. Thank you, Ox. Yes. We'll see you later, Aaron. Thank you. Thanks for being here, Aaron. Yeah, he does look so young, doesn't he? I really, but his energy too. It would be very cool about the questions, but honestly, this is only the second time that anyone that I saw that does any of this legal type reporting, and I'm talking the journalists and all that I follow, the news reporters, they're all saying the same thing. And the other time that it happened was also in Colorado. So that's interesting. Yep. So okay, so on that, with your guys, if that's it for questions, let's move on to the new mugshot of Lori Vallow for one. And for once, she doesn't not smiling at the camera like she's some kind of model, like a bathing suit model or something. She's always doing that back head glint at the camera. Whoa, she is like full of herself. I think the reality of the trial is hit her now. That's not the most glamorous shot that I've seen in a while of her. Anyway. Hey, Mrs. Cassandra, nice to see you. I know you've been here. I'm really behind in the chat. Okay. All right. This says, the little I've seen about the first day of picking the jury in the Lori Vallow trial is that it seemed a lot of potential jurors didn't seem to know much about the case. How is that possible? I wanted to say that too. But don't forget that they moved it to Ada County. Okay, Stephen Boyce is still the judge, but they moved it from where it was, and it happened because of the popularity, everything about her being with the Latter-day Saints and Chad Daybell's doom and gloom and about people being possessed, and the only way to get rid of it is to kill them. All of that gossip, all of that hate towards her because of being in Hawaii while her kids were missing, and getting married, and his wife dying, her husband dying, her brother may be involved and complicit, and now he's dead also. But that's not a charge of murder or anything. That was supposedly natural causes. It's convoluted, like how they don't. It's got so much going on, and like these jurors are like, they didn't know, and they didn't seem that affected about any of it. The most effect that they had was, again, this one involves children. Let's not forget JJ and Ty Lee. I'm going to put them up instead of Lori. I only put her up because of her terrible mugshot. Finally, she wasn't grinning at the camera. The reason we don't have cameras here for this is the way she was mugging for the camera and drawing attention to herself. The judge felt, based on mental competency, that this was going to be prejudicial. It all started with the drama around her playing up to the camera. It's been a hot contention. We thought maybe when the cases got separated, it would change, but I know it's not going to change for the Vallow case. Too much publicity. The judge was really adamant about it. I don't know if there'll be cameras on the Daybel case on Chad Daybell, which is months and months away, because they actually did release for a timely trial. So they wanted more time. Lori said no. There's going to be a lot coming forward. Right now, we're just in jury selection. The jurors, they did actually fill a room with people. It does look like it's going to go a lot faster. It's definitely going a lot faster than the Letecia Stauch case. That took weeks to get that jury. This one's going faster, and it's because they moved the case with the judge and everybody and the prosecutor and everybody over to Ada County. And in Ada County, they were able to get a selection of jurors that just weren't following it. It wasn't that personal to them. Not like the Murdaugh case, where they couldn't find, once they said, did you have any personal dealings with him? And everybody stood up and like 75 people had to leave the room at once. Whoa. They had a lot tougher time trying to find people that weren't associated with them or worked with them in some capacity. It wasn't that they didn't know who they were, but just having interactions on a regular basis, that was the problem in the Murdaugh trial. And that took a while also. Fun fact, I watched an episode of Criminal Minds with Amber Heard in it, and I couldn't help but comment at one point that if she could act, that girl would be really freaked out. I forgot she was in one of those. I don't know why. You know what? Why are they making it after? Because Lori has a right to a speedy trial, and she did not waiver it. Okay, she did not waive it aside. She's demanding a speedy trial. Our laws here say you have to have that trial within a certain period of time after you have been arraigned, unless you waive it. Now, Chad's attorneys and Chad waived it because they wanted more time because it's a death penalty case. Lori Vallow is not facing the death penalty. That was part of the negotiations that went back and forth. They say it was based on competency, media coverage, and some bad timing of filings on the prosecution's end. Yep, she's not facing the death penalty anymore. People were really upset about that. The grandparents are very upset about that. The other thing is that people are trying to fight the grandparents from being in the room. They're saying they could be witnesses. And then but they're saying they're family. And Lori Vallow and her attorneys are saying they're not really family because they're not blood related. Well, the grandparents actually helped raise these children. That took a lot of nerve. I mean, why they don't want them there, how that can cause them more pain. But anyways, for the judge to decide. He's going to come out and decide whether they're going to be a witness or not. They're not supposed to be around other witnesses, or they're not supposed to be watching anything if they're not like the murder trial where the witnesses were all sitting there. Like, Buster Murdaugh sat there through the whole trial as a family member and then came up there as a witness. Okay. So did Randy. I mean, not Randy. The other one, John Martin. Yeah, not Randy. I know, Mrs. Cassandra. I would rather look at the beautiful babies. I would. I definitely would. Okay. All right. So anyway, that trial started today. I do have a little clip. If you want. Happy birthday. Oh, I know you heard the audio and I don't have the screen up. Hold 1 second. I'll bring it back. I was trying to get it up appropriately for you. So, all right, this is from another news media. I'm going to play it because it's a concise, real quick couple of minutes that gives you an overview of the case, okay? And I'm hoping that News Nation doesn't mind. This clip is everywhere. And I'm giving them full credit in the description and everything like that. And I'm actually going to just put that in the description so you can go and follow them. But I do believe that it just gives you just a little bit of a view, and it also has the grandparents' perspectives in here. I agree. Let me just address this before we play the video. Mark, I agree. If you charge someone with a penalty that is too high and they don't meet the evidence to be prosecuted for that, they can't be prosecuted for a lesser charge on the same issue. Exactly. And that's why the death penalty is off, because she is charged with the conspiracy of the murder. The conspiracy of it, the planning of it, and the covering up of it. Okay. She's also facing charges in the death of her husband for the same, and the wife. Conspiracy all the way around. Okay. Okay. And I agree. The death penalty is pulled off because, like, it's a high standard. Yeah, I know. She's saying that because the aunt married the grandfather and she shouldn't be allowed. But you know what? She's going to be a witness. And I think it's because she's got something to say about the case, you know? All right. Let's play this video and then I'll take some more questions, okay? Happy birthday, dear.
Can you tell me where your kids are?
What happened to JJ?
They've been missing for 4 months. You have nothing to say?
Until November of 2019, nobody knew the names Lori Vallow or Chad Daybell. But 2 days before Thanksgiving, that all changed when Lori's two children, 7-year-old JJ and 17-year-old Tylee, went missing in Idaho.
They are just the most unbelievable children you'd ever meet.
The missing kids began to expose an unhinged family dynamic that started 2 years earlier when Lori, a devout member of the LDS Church and once described as a patient, wonderful mother, started reading and studying books from author Chad Daybell, books about preparing for the end of the world.
And what Chad Daybell taught his followers was that there were negative or evil spirits that could occupy a human body, and that the only release that person would have was when they died.
Cult members would talk about zombies, and when Lori started getting sucked in, she was married to businessman Charles Vallow. Their life looked like storybook perfection, raising Tylee and JJ in Arizona. But then Lori and Chad Daybell began doing religious podcasts together, and their relationship grew. And the family says Lori began to change.
So what makes her a danger to herself and to others?
She threatened me, murder me, kill me.
She threatened to murder you?
Yes. And she said,
how did she do that?
My bishop right there is in the car. He was on the phone with me today when she said, I will have you destroyed.
Charles Vallow, who was Lori's fourth husband, went to police after he said Lori threatened to murder him.
She's lost her mind. I don't know how to say it. We're LDS. She thinks she's a resurrected being and a god.
Charles soon filed for divorce, and 6 months later, he was dead, shot to death by Lori's brother.
He's blaming me for our marriage breaking up and my niece getting divorced and my friend getting divorced. He said, I'm a destroyer of families.
With Charles dead, Lori moved her family to Idaho to be closer to Chad. Just days later, Tylee disappeared after a friend said Lori described her daughter as a zombie. And 2 weeks after that, JJ Vallow vanished.
It was a heck of a sequence of events, and certainly
it all seemed to be circling around this sort of doomsday group.
And then Chad Daybell's wife Tammy mysteriously died. Amid all of this, Lori and Chad flew to Hawaii to get married. Missing from the wedding photos are JJ and Tylee. JJ's grandparents grew concerned and say their last call from JJ was suspicious.
The last call was somewhat of the most, it was the awkward call because it was a call like somebody was watching him.
All the sordid puzzle pieces began to unravel from there. Authorities searched Chad's Idaho property and found the remains of Tylee and JJ buried in shallow graves.
Lori and Chad Daybell were indicted on 2 counts of conspiracy to commit first-degree murder.
I lost a grandson. I lost a granddaughter. I lost a brother-in-law. And God, I pray for everybody every night involved in this case.
Cameras are not allowed in the courtroom.
Okay. So that the rest of it is just the actual news reporting. So I'm just cutting that so they don't get too pissed off at me. But that was Elizabeth Vargas, and I'll be posting the link down below if you want to watch the rest of that, you know. Yep. I know. The Woodcocks, I know. The last Facebook call was in August, exactly. The grandparents are very involved in the lives, and they should be allowed there for all of the testimony. They want justice. They actually fought very hard to have the trial, to have cameras in there. They wanted the media in there. They want them exposed. They want Lori to pay for what she did. They totally think it was her. And they absolutely want her to pay for this. They want justice for the kids. They want everybody, in their words, to see the monster she is. And I feel for them. I want them to be able to see, you know. Yep, it's terrible. Yeah, that's why I played it, Jin. That zombie stuff, unless you hear it yourself, you just can't believe it. But that's what it's all in the books, you know. Justice for Tylee and JJ also. You guys that don't like to do these are the only 2 the children cases that I have, and they're coming together at the same time. And I guess if we can all go through them together at the same time, it's better than one after the other. That's for sure. It'll be a shorter time. But on that, the Vallow case is also going to be many, many weeks. And the Stauch case is looking like it's going to be 8 weeks. Okay. Brilliant, I agree with you. The dangers of woo. Way too much woo. Like, yeah, be careful with your woo. It's absolutely horrible, you know. But here's the twists in these cases. Well, the reason I started following this Idaho case with Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell, it was not because it was children. It was not that outrage. Although I'm with you all. I feel that outrage. I do. I just don't feel the need to be out here talking about it on YouTube just based on that outrage. I usually look for a legal thing about it, something I'm looking to play out in the courts a little bit different than other things. And for this one, it was the fact that there is no insanity plea in Idaho for a defense. Now, you can use it for sentencing, but in Idaho, you just go sit in a mental hospital until you're competent to sit charges, till you can go through your trial. You don't get anything dismissed because you were insane. You don't get committed without facing the charges. The charges just sit there until you can actually come forward. And that was lots of the delay in the Vallow case. Okay. It's also complicated because after their arrest, the 2 of them never spoke. There was the interest that the prosecutor actually decided to have the cases together, even though there were 2 other parties, his wife, Tammy, and her husband, Charles, who had murders, and then there was the brother. There was so much convolution. There was so much interconnection going on that it started to intrigue me, the difference in the cases. And it has been separated now. That's one of the things I was waiting to see how. Of course, for the prosecution, it's easier together because there's less finger pointing. But there's going to be some finger pointing now because her trial first, I would anticipate the defense to bring forward it could have been him, because that's a really solid way to go. It could have been Chad. It wasn't me, right? So, and it's going to be a frustrating one. No cameras. We'll be doing reporting as it comes out. Keep you updated the best that we can. I think Law and Crime will be doing something. They usually do, and I'm sure there's going to be plenty of them out there trying to do it. Absolutely don't mind at all, Case 10. Everyone is welcome. Listen, we're just about wrapping up, though. You'll have to do the replay thing to catch the Stauch part of it. We're just wrapping up, looking for questions here on the Daybel part of the update. You're right, Michelle. I'm going to put that up. Both of these cases are just heartbreaking with the children that are involved. Absolutely. All right. So just go back, make sure I didn't miss any questions. That's true, Sean. They would have taken those kids in a second and taken care of them. They spent so much time with them anyway. It's if they didn't want them around, why not give them to family that would have loved and cherished them? Some people just want to move on or whatever craziness was going on there. But that whole their souls were possessed and they were zombified thing from the Latter-day Saints and Chad Daybell. Written books on it, absolutely preaches on it. It is something that they totally were all involved in. And this is just been insane. And there are witnesses that came forward. There's been interviews with people saying that she talked to them like that. And I'm sure that that's going to come out on the witness stand. Definitely. Hey, Rabbits. Always nice to see you. Cool. But I'm wrapping up. So you'll have to catch the replay. But thank you for popping in and saying hey. And hey, Mousy. It's good to see you too. It's okay to be late because there's always replay. I never mind about that. And for those of you coming in late and didn't catch anything, please, I'm going to remind you, and for everybody else here, or if you're listening later at any date, you got any questions in regards to these two cases right now, put it on the back of the video. I answer it. I research. I'll do it. I'll get you a clarification. I have no problem. Communicate with me. Use the back of the video. Okay. And so that I can keep it straight to which video that it is. But I'm happy to answer questions. And there are no dumb questions. There might be silly answers occasionally because I can be a bit of a goofball occasionally. But I really will try to get you all the answers that I can, as detailed as I can. I get links. I'll get you the information. I'll show you where it's coming from. I want everybody to be on the same page. And I really hate misinformation. Like I'm allergic. I'm telling you, I'm just damn allergic. Oh, case 10. I didn't know that you follow also. That's really cool. It's very cool, actually. Please come back anytime. And if I can help with any hints to where to find things, let us know. Hey, Colin. Nice to see you. You going to catch a replay? Yeah. You're going to catch a replay? Thank you. All right. On that, you guys, if you don't have any other questions, wait, I just saw one pop in. Tony's got one here. Let me just get this one up first. Even if Chad wasn't directly involved, he needs to be locked up. And although I believe in free speech, all his books would be burnt and he should never be published again. Yeah, he was pretty desolate, but he is involved. They actually found the bodies on his property. So whether he did it or not, he's complicit. Something's going on. Very, very, something very colluded is going on there. And he was with the brother a lot also. And actually her alibi is like, oh, it must have been him because I was talking to this one and doing podcasts and things like that. I'm looking. How often Let's just see. How often do you think you'll be reporting on the Vallow trial? I was speaking with that earlier in the video in regards to Stauch and Vallow. I'm going to be putting it on the community tab. How often you would like to hear about both of them? I was thinking at least twice a week, but if I can, I'll do a 30-minute every day. If you want a quick and dirty, I can do that, because I will also have the audio feeds from Stauch, and I'll be making pertinent videos of some of the more crucial stuff. But with the Lori Vallow, that's all going to be based on the reporting. Okay. So, I mean, I could do 30 minutes every day. And then perhaps if it's a lot on Vallow, we can add another 30 minutes, do an hour twice a week. And on the other 3 days, do 30 minutes. But anyway, you're going to have options to vote on my community tab later tonight. As a matter of fact, pretty much like within the hour of me finishing this, wrapping this up. Ah, good question, Mrs. Cassandra, and thank you. You guys are so good to me. Thank you, Verillion. Thank you, Liz. Thank you, Always Createful. Thank you, Mrs. Cassandra, and everybody else, for keeping me on track here. Well, for the rest of the week, I have something exciting tomorrow. I've been looking for someone to talk about, language and food for a year. Okay. And then I had a conversation just casually on another channel over at the Shills, where y'all know I panel. I do Uncalled For with Amy, and I do the Starsky, Operator Starsky update. And I was over there, and Christopher Mate joined one day, and we started talking. We started talking about music and Jersey and food. And then I found out psychology. Christopher's all up in the psychology of it. Bingo. There you go. Now we got to stream. So tomorrow, after all of this scheduling hubble and the holidays and all this stuff going on in both of our lives, Christopher Mate and I are finally going to sit down, and we're going to talk about the metaphor of food. Food as a metaphor, language and senses in food, and how you put all that together to communicate with each other. I think it's going to be just what but you know what, Air Chair? I don't know if I should bring up lemon bars with with Christopher Mate. I know about that a little bit, because I do hang over there. Christopher's got a real chill stream going on Sundays afternoon that is totally my vibe. It's like he cooks, plays music, people just chat about whatever's been going on for in their life, in social media, the news. It's like sitting around and just having a conversation with a bunch of friends, and I just love the vibe of it. But anyway, tomorrow it's 7:30 Eastern time in the evening here, Tuesday, 7 p.m. EST, food as a metaphor with Christopher Mate, and I'm looking forward to it. And you know what? It's such a big topic. I'm hoping I can get him back for more, because I think there's more to it than just this one and done. But it's going to be good. And also the rest of the week, we'll be doing updates on Stauch and Vallow, if there's anything more than just jury ho, 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 home. We also have, at the end of the week, we're going to have the premiere of the second episode of Culture Conversations. I'm not going to tell you what it is. It'll be a surprise. Well, that'll be coming out also. That's the podcast style series that I just started. The first one's already up, the Raelians. I'm kind of happy to say that it's on Apple, it's on Spotify, it's on iHeartRadio, and it's on Amazon Music. So they all accepted it. So that means I did a good job of following terms of service, at least. If it's not popular, it's at least squeaky clean. But I did enjoy that conversation with Christopher in regards to the Raelians. So I hope you'll check that one out if you haven't already. And I hope you're looking forward to know. Also, we'll have stuff on the weekend. We've got an AIT coming up, actually, for the weekend. All right. My appetite is very whetted, Mark. I love conversation. And conversations about food is just like a double for me. It's like the best, the absolute best. So I hope you all join us. Well, on that, I think I'm going to cut this short. Well, wait. Oh, so podcast I can search by title, and you answered my question about where I can listen. I will, you know what? I'll do you better than that, Mrs. Cassandra. I will make a community post with the links to all of them in it. But if you do go on my channel, YouTube has created a podcast section for us creators on our YouTube channel, so we don't have to create a separate channel. I do have a podcast section. You can go there, and in the description is the links to all of the other platforms that it's listed. I'll go make sure that the last couple, like Google and Apple, are listed, but I do believe the one for Spotify and iHeart and a couple of others are already there. I'll make sure it's updated properly, and I'll make a community post for you too. That's a good suggestion. Thank you. Just get them to answer why a full English is most important meal ever invented. A full English breakfast. You mean you forgot breakfast? A full English breakfast is the most important meal ever invented, and why it makes you happy all day long. Ah, I get you, Colin, because I'm with you on that one. The tomatoes, the beans, the whole, yes, I'm with you on that. I'm totally with you on that. You know, Irish Nan. I gotcha. Okay. True science behind a full English, and let's just give it the right term, Colin. An English brekkie, it gets you set for the whole day, right? Okay. All right. So now there's going to be rumors again that I'm like not American, but I am. And I am from New Jersey. So let's just say that. But what about second breakfast? I'm always down for second breakfast also, especially if it's like French toast or pancakes. I even like pancakes for dinner. But now you're all getting me distracted. I'm going to go. I got to go get ready for this thing. I got to have to do all this food stuff to get ready. And psychology, food and psychology studying all night to get ready for Christopher tomorrow. I hope you all will see there and enjoy the conversation with us. But thank you much. And don't forget, like, share, comment. Hope to see you all during the week. Put those questions on the back of the video, okay? All right. On that, y'all have a great night.